Myself first, my name is Wael BRİNSİ. I'm a PhD student at Chopin University in Hungary. Today I will be sharing with you the results of my research paper under the title Barriers of Circular Economy Implementation in the Hungarian SMEs. During this presentation, we will be covering the following points. We will start with the short introduction about the concept of the circular economy, then the objectives of the research, after that the methodology used, then the results and discussion, and we will finish our presentation with the conclusion. In past years, the concept of the circular economy has become attractive to major companies and policymakers as a sustainable initiative to avoid the environmental deterioration and the depletion of natural resources. Unlike the traditional model, which is based to take, make, waste, the circular economy aims to respect the environmental boundaries through the minimization of the use of virgin materials. In addition, the circular economy has three main principles. The first principle is about understanding that waste and pollution are largely a result of the way we design things. This principle refers to keep waste from even occurring in the first place. The second principle is about on a simple premise. We can't keep wasting resources. On a planet with infinite resources, the products and materials we produce must be kept in the economy for as long as possible by lengthening the life cycle as many times as possible. The third principle is about the regeneration of natural systems, which is one of the fundamental concepts of the circular economy that enhances the natural capital and create the necessity conditions for the regeneration of natural systems. The successful adoption of the circular economy initiatives could deliver a wide range of benefits and contributes to value creation. For the economic aspects, the ability to reuse materials in the production of new products instead of sourcing new materials can reduce operational costs. For the environmental aspects, reducing pressure on the environment, avoidance of environmental damage caused by resource extraction, and less pollution. For the societal aspects, we have reducing the side effects of a positive environment, improve human health and well-being. Although there is a widespread of the circular economy concept among companies, the transition is still at an early stage, and several studies stated that many companies faced barriers during the adoption of circular economy. Therefore, the objectives of our paper is to first investigate the extent to which Hungarian SMEs have adopted circular economy, second, to explore the current company's behavior, third, to identify the barriers related to circular economy implementation, and finally, to rank these barriers from the highest to the lowest influence. The methodology used for this research is as follows. So we started by the categorization of barriers. So we categorized barriers according to the most frequented in the literature review. So we identified 15 barriers and we categorized these barriers into 5 categories. Then we built up the questionnaire using Lima survey software. Then we collected the company's contacts from the CREFOPORT database. This database includes around 1 million companies operating within Hungary. Then we sent the questionnaire via email to these contacts and companies. After that, we analyzed the results using the SPSS software. And in the end, we had the interpretation and the conclusion. So the empirical research was conducted in Hungary, and this questionnaire was available from the 1st of March to 30th of April via email, and 60 companies participated in the study. The target respondents involved general manager, management positions and related, head of environmental management, and other area of the company. The first section had a set of questions about the characteristics of respondents. The second section referred to explore the awareness level and the degree of the implementation. The third section of the questionnaire is focused to find out the barriers to circular economy implementation. For the data collection, Crefoport database was used to obtain the company's contacts. And in order to get heterogeneous sample composition, we selected different criteria. For example, for the region, we selected all the regions within the country. For the industrial sector, we selected only the manufacturing sector, which is our target, and the number of employees from 1 to 250. Here we have more details about the structure of the questionnaire. So we have 3 sections. The first section that aims to explore the characteristics of the respondents. We have 3 questions. So positions of the respondents, the industrial field of the company, and the number of employees. These 3 questions are multiple choice questions. For the second section that aims to identify the implementation level and the awareness level. For the awareness level, we have 2 yes or no questions. If the respondents have heard of the circular economy, and the second question is if they are familiar with the benefits of the circular economy. For the implementation level, we have 2 questions. First, if to select the status of the circular economy within the company and the percentage of reusing materials in the company. The third section that aims to explore and identify the influence of each barrier. A Likert scale were graded from 1 to 5, from the lowest influence to the highest influence. And we have, as we mentioned, we have 5 categories and 15 barriers. Our results are divided into 4 sections: the simple description, the awareness level, implementation level, and the barriers to circular economy adoption. For the simple description, most of the respondents were holding managerial roles with around 51%, followed by general manager around 13%, and only 10% were acting as head of environmental management. For the sectors, around 18% of the respondents were from the mechanical and electrical engineering, followed by chemical industries with 16%. For the food, beverage, tobacco industry were 15%, whereas 10% from the other sectors. For the number of employees, the majority of the companies employed between 100 and 250 employees, with 36%, and 28% employed between 50 and 99 employees, and 21% employed between 10 and 49 employees. The remaining were between 1 and 9 employees. For the awareness level, we have two questions. The first, if the respondents have heard of the circular economy, and the second, if they are familiar with the benefits. The results have shown that only 13% of the respondents had heard of the circular economy, and the remaining 87% did not. Also, 10% of the respondents are familiar with the benefits of the circular economy. These results revealed a low level of awareness and lack of understanding around circular economy within companies. There is a clear strategy to provide appropriate trainings for these businesses in order to improve their awareness of the benefits of circular economy. In this section, the implementation level, we have also 2 questions. The first, to investigate the implementation level. The second, the implementation level of the recycling phase. So for the implementation level, we have three propositions: whether not implemented, already implemented, or planned for the next 2 years. Around 80% of the respondents stated that their companies did not either implement circular economy practice or planned for the next 2 years, and 80% already implemented, and around 11% acknowledged that planned for the next 2 years. For the recycling phase implementation, over 50% of the respondents stated that the recycled materials rate doesn't exceed 40%, and the remaining represents the disposal rate. So we can conclude that the wasted materials rate is very high. Here we have the barriers and the categories. We have five categories. The first, which is the regulatory. This category includes lack of effective policies. So the Hungarian policy doesn't create a unified platform to promote the circular economy. Moreover, the current policy discourages companies in terms of taxation system, import duty for the recycled materials. Administrative burden refers to the complex procedures and bureaucracy that takes long time to obtain environmental certificates. Lack of governmental incentives to companies that intend to adopt circular economy. These benefits could be in form of fiscal exemption or effective taxation system, as well as opportunities for fundings. The second category, the financial, we have high initial costs that needed to invest in new adequate and sophisticated technology, low virgin material prices. In many cases, the recycling of materials is not economical compared to the production of virgin materials, and the virgin materials still cheaper than the recycled. High production costs due to the increase of raw material costs and production processes. For the cultural category, strongly risk aversion associated to the implementation of circular economy. This is due to the complexity to evaluate its benefits and estimate the implementation costs. Lack of interest from the leaders. This barrier can be explained by the poor management commitment and focusing on short-term investment, which doesn't align with the circular economy. Currently linear system in place. So companies and workers are already familiar with the current linear system and deeply rooted and widely established in their business practices. The fourth category, the technological, lack of competences and technical skills of the workers to embrace circular economy solution. And second, lack of information and data and the inability of clear guidance to define the sustainability for the SMEs. Lack of a proper technology and the inability to deliver high quality products due to the inappropriate current technology. The last category, which is the market, we have lack of consumer interest. This could be explained by the unawareness of consumers of durable products, and they are not willing to buy durable products, which is generally more expensive. Also difficult to cooperate with other companies, and the insufficient transparency and weak relationship with the industrial sector to create industrial chains. The last barrier, the unpredictability in supply and demand due to the limited awareness of customers that makes the predictability more difficult for the companies. The weight mean method was employed to evaluate the influence of each barrier. This approach is widely used in the industrial sector and serves as a support for decision-making problems. The first step, we formulate the equation. So Wi refers to the allocated weighted value, and Xi the observed value. After that, the weighted mean was transformed into a descriptive equivalent. So we have the scale value from 1 to 5, and we have 5 range from 1.8 that's transformed into no influence, and 1.8 to 2.6, this range refers to a very low influence, and 2.6 to 3.4 to low influence, and for the fourth range, 3.4 to 4.2, this is a high influence, and the fifth the fifth range, 4.2 to 5, this could be transformed to very high influence. So for example, if a barrier with a weighted mean between 2.6 and 3.5, this barrier could be classified with the low influence. Another example, for example, a barrier with a weighted mean between 4.2 and 5, we can conclude that this barrier will have a very high influence. Here we have more details about the standard deviation, the weighted mean, the rank, and the descriptive equivalent for each barrier. So we have 15 barriers, 3 barriers for each category. For example, for the first barrier of the financial category, the standard deviation is 0.85, the weighted mean is 4.23, and this barrier ranked as a fifth among all barriers. And the descriptive equivalent, this barrier is ranked as a very high influence. Let's have another example. For the first barrier of the regulatory category, we have the standard deviation 1.11 and the weighted mean 3.38, and it's classified as 11th barrier, and it's classified as a low influence. So the results revealed 3 categories: very high influence, and low influence. So for the very high influence, the weighted mean between 4.2 and 5, we have a high influence initial capital cost, lack of proper technology, strong risk aversion, current linear system in place, and lack of consumer interest. For the high influence, we have low virgin material prices, high production costs, lack of competence and knowledge, and administrative burden, and lack of governmental incentives. For the third category, the results revealed that the low influence have three barriers: lack of information and data, lack of effective policies, lack of interest of the leaders, unpredictability in supply and demand, and finally difficult to collaborate with the other companies. For the conclusion, we can say that the majority of the questionnaire respondents were slightly aware of the circular economy and its benefits, and most of the companies don't cooperate in the eco-industrial chains, and the recycling process still not integrated yet in their production chain. Also, the results highlighted that the circular economy implementation is at an early stage in Hungary, and the successful transition required government support, companies' willingness, and consumers' awareness. And thank you very much for your attention.